I took the body off the Jeep, and while it was on, I built the exhaust system. I used the Sanderson LS1 headers and 2.5-inch exhaust pipe. I bought the 2.5-inch kit from Summit Racing. It's a series of mandrel bent 45s and 90s and U's, and some straight pieces as well. I have a Flowmaster Flow FX muffler, and the only extra part I had to order was the Y pipe. I did what most people do and brought the driver's side around the front of the oil pan, and they come together here to some brackets I installed so I can build this exhaust with the body off, actually test it out with the engine running, and then if I like it I can put the body on, and if I think it's too loud, I left enough pipe before and after the muffler that I could always change it out for a bigger muffler. While the body was on it, I put some weight in the back to simulate a full tank of fuel and the spare that'll be off the back of the tire carrier. And with that weight on, I set up the pinion angle on the Ford 8.8. And one thing I did learn is with the Sanderson headers, which are the ones that Novak research suggests to use, I actually had to slide the engine back into its rearmost position on the mount because it interferes with the flange on this exhaust. Now this was an oversight on my part. As I was welding this up, I should have clocked this flange about 30 more degrees over to give me more clearance between this engine mount and the flange. So I do need to kind of take out a little notch here and maybe put a plate behind it. It's very, very minimal. I could just have to make a little bit of clearance. But I don't know how that would have fit in the middle hole on the bracket for the engine mount. And with it mounted all the way in the back, the transmission mount is centered right on the hump of the cross member, which is even better. Because when it was mounted in the middle of the flange, these rubber isolators were a little bit too far forward, about to where my finger is, and I didn't like that the front edge of this rubber was right at the radius on the front of this. So moving it back made it fit back here a little bit better as well. So I did measure these, like the instructions said, off of the tube, but still seems to fit better in this application all the way back. So be aware of that if you do plan on using these headers with the with the Novak mounts. Account for the clearance there. And then I built the front bracket for the CJ grill, and since I had to build all this, I decided to build a plate here where the fog lights will mount. And I ground this real quick just to flatten it down. I'll probably weld this and grind it one more time because this will all be exposed from the top. I'm not going to put a plate across. I'll just leave this exposed. And the bumper will sit right out here flush with the front of the frame. So that's the exhaust system and the suspension. And everything is ready to go now. I can disassemble all the parts off the frame, clean up all my welds, sandblast it, and then paint the frame and start building it all over again. I also have to build the rear end and front end as well, but I got all the components. I'm ready to go on that. Okay, if you have any questions about this project, let me know, and if I can help, please don't hesitate to ask. Thanks.